In today's video, I really want to talk about something that is so important, and it is how do you coach yourself through self-limiting behavior when I'm not around? How do you do that when your mentor is not around, when your boss is not around, when it's just you and your internal world, when it is you laying in bed at night by yourself and all you have is your physical body, your thoughts, and your emotions? Alrighty, what's up, ladies? How are you today? Welcome to Wombaura. My name is Crystal, and I am a women's freedom coach. My mission and my purpose in this lifetime and for all of you is to serve women and help women reach their highest potential through the evolutionary constructs of neuroscience, meditation, and we throw a little bit of quantum physics in there. But what does that really mean? It really means that I help you tap into your subconscious mind, your subconscious programming, your conditioning, and I help you realize why you are conditioned the way you are conditioned and how to overcome that. And that conditioning runs so deep. Usually we are conditioned, we are programmed between the ages of 0 through 14 years old. So imagine everything that you were experiencing from the ages of 0 to 14 years old. Everything that you were hearing, everything that you were seeing. This is really a deep part of your conditioning. The thing is, during this time, we are in a brainwave state called theta. Theta is where the brain is in a specific frequency. It is vibrating at a specific frequency in which we are taking in information and we are rewiring and reprogramming the mind in a process called neuroplasticity at such an easy rate. And so if you want to rewire and recondition your programming, that programming really is those limiting beliefs, those limiting thoughts, those negative thinking patterns. It could be negative emotions that no longer serve you. Then you have to get back into your subconscious mind. A way that I love to teach for us to get back into our subconscious mind is by getting back into theta. It's going back to the root. It's going back to the cause. And one way, of course, is through meditation. And so in today's video, I really want to talk about something that is so important, and it is how do you coach yourself through self-limiting behavior when I'm not around? How do you do that when your mentor is not around, when your boss is not around, when it's just you and your internal world, when it is you laying in bed at night by yourself and all you have is your physical body, your thoughts, and your emotions? This is so pivotal. And as a coach, someone who loves to coach women through this, I also have my own coach. I also have my own mentor. And I think that this understanding this mindset and this framework is so important, especially in today's age, because we have grown to be have grown to think on such an individualistic level. And while of course, like having that individuality, that freedom, that sense of independence is so important, at the end of the day, humans evolved so meticulously and miraculously because of our kin, of our tribes, right? We were always supported in one way or another from infancy, right? And so that part of us, the need for community, the need for mentorship, to be coached, is such an innate part of us that I think we kind of move away from, right? But aside from that, a big part of the growth is how do I actually coach myself through self-limiting behaviors, thoughts, and belief systems when my coach and my mentor is not around, when it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I can't reach out to anyone, right? Of course, it's you and God, yeah? So you always have that divine consciousness that's flowing through you. And you can always step back into a place of meditation and mindfulness to really seek that answer from within, which is such a big part of what this channel is about, is teaching you how to go within yourself to find the answer. And so in this video, we're really going to talk about this. And the way I have broken it up is just in 5 simple steps. And I want to make this as simple as possible because it doesn't have to always be so difficult. So the first thing is, if you are in a space where you are in a cycle of negative thinking or negative emotions, so negative feelings, and it's triggering a negative belief system, the first thing that you need to do is bring awareness to the situation. So when you close your eyes or you focus on an identity, a desired identity, when you focus on that desired identity, we're really thinking about how this identity thinks, how she feels, how she believes, and the actions that she's taking. So if you're in a space of a negative thinking loop, let's say, you know by those thoughts, those feelings, those actions, those behaviors, those belief systems, that this is out of alignment with your desired identity. So the first thing is to just bring awareness to it. Okay, I'm in a space of negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative emotions. Why? And so awareness is really key. And in this space, ask yourself, is this intuitive or is this self-sabotage? So what I mean by this is, let's say you're on a health journey and you're committed to going to the gym 3 times a week, etc. And you're a woman who is in her menses right now, right? So you're actively going through the shedding process. And even though you have committed to the gym 3 times a week, you're in a space where your body is really just calling for rest and rejuvenation. So in this awareness process where maybe you are finding that you're blaming yourself, you're calling yourself lazy, maybe you're thinking you're procrastinating because you're not sticking to that gym routine, this is where intuition and understanding intuition or really self-sabotaging behavior comes in. So in this specific scenario, it's easy to blame, it's easy to call yourself all different names, yeah. And step into a space of emotional dysregulation. But you should really be asking yourself, like, okay, intuitively, is my body just telling me to rest? Or am I in a space of self-sabotaging behavior where I have enough energy to show up, I have the right mindset to show up, I have all the resources to show up, yet what's really stopping me is my thoughts and my behaviors and my actions. So the first thing is really asking, is to paint a picture, the thinking, feeling loop that you are currently in, and ask yourself, am I self-sabotaging right now? If so, why? Another thing we need to really think about here, and when we bring awareness to this, is we need to bring awareness to our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions. Well, emotions and feelings are the same thing. So thoughts, emotions, belief systems, and behaviors. So we call this in neuroscience the thinking, feeling loop. If you've ever read anything from Dr. Joe Dispenza, you are very well aware of this thinking, feeling loop. I'll go ahead and explain it to you right now. So what is it? The thinking, feeling loop is pretty much a loop that we subconsciously engage in and day out that is literally creating our reality. Your thoughts are electric, your feelings or your emotions are magnetic. Things that are electric emit a frequency, an electrical charge, and things that are magnetic attract back to them a like force or like energy. So think about it this way. When you think a thought, there is an electrical signal that is passed from one neuron to another within the brain. When that electrical signal is passed from one neuron to another, it has around it a chemical frequency. So that chemical frequency has a specific resonance that attracts back to it and produces more of that like frequency or resonance. So in this case, let's say you have a negative thought pattern. That negative thought is, I'm unworthy. Just an example. So you think a thought of I'm unworthy. That thought itself is electrical and it creates around it a specific chemical frequency. So like attracts like. So what's going to happen is you're going to send a signal to the hypothalamus. That hypothalamus is going to say, okay, we just produced the thought of I'm unworthy. Let's go ahead and produce neuropeptides that have a matching frequency or matching resonance to that thought of I am unworthy. So now that neuropeptide, which is responsible for triggering a hormonal response in the body, is now going to establish a feeling within the body. So now you are feeling the way that you were thinking. And because you're now feeling the way that you were thinking, because the body is producing neuropeptides that match that chemical resonance of that thought, you are now going to continue to think the way you are feeling. So we get caught up in this thinking, feeling loop, all because of a thought, a single thought that we produced that is in misalignment with our desired identity. So when you bring awareness to the situation, really bring awareness to your thoughts, bring awareness to your emotions, bring awareness to the belief system. Once you can understand this, and you can have a great grasp on the thinking, feeling loop, you now know what your conditioning is. So let's say that you are someone who starts, stops, and gives up a lot. So you start a task because you get that dopamine spike, it's exciting, and then you stop doing it, and then you just completely give it up altogether. This could be like a new course, it could be a new routine, a new regimen, etc. So let's say, instead of just blaming yourself for starting and giving up continuously and being on this cycle of just self-sabotage, you really begin to understand the conditioning behind that. So the conditioning behind that is understanding that thinking, the emotions, and the belief systems that are associated with the conditioning. Some questions you can begin asking yourself are, when's the first time I ever really did this? Who taught me to act this way? When did I first think that I was not good enough to complete something? Why am I self-sabotaging myself in this situation? Am I in fear of the responsibility that comes with this? Am I in fear of who's going to judge me for this, etc.? Understand the conditioning. Once you can understand the conditioning, you understand the root of yourself. You understand the root of your self-sabotage. The next thing is to create your desired identity. So now you have awareness, you understand the conditioning because you understand how you are thinking and you are feeling and you are feeling and you are thinking. You understand that when you give up on yourself or you don't follow through, that you automatically engage in this thinking, feeling loop, right? Because you're doing your homework, you're doing the inner work. So the next thing is having a desired identity in mind. And so when you have this desired identity in mind, you have to go against the construct that you've already created for yourself that doesn't serve you. So if that previous identity or the identity that you're currently in is thinking thoughts that are negative of I am unworthy, they're feeling feelings of self-pity, they're believing that they cannot accomplish greatness in this world, and they're acting in alignment with that self-limiting behavior, then that new identity must do the opposite. So how does your new identity think? How does she feel? What does she believe? And how does she act? Okay? These are some really important constructs that you need to put in place. And when you can do this, you'll have a great understanding of when you're in that old conditioned response and when you're operating out of your highest potential. Powerful stuff. Next is visualization. So how do we actually rewire that old identity, that old conditioning? The beautiful thing about the brain and about neuroscience and how these things work is you can rewire anything. You can rewire any thought, any feeling, any belief system. You can rewire the way you feel when you have to surpass a threshold that maybe you have been stuck in for so long. You can rewire the way you think, the way you feel, the way you believe when you step outside of your comfort zone, right? But how do we do this? So like I said in the beginning of this video, there's a lot of power that you hold when you can tap into a state of visualization through the realm of meditation and really tap into that state of theta. So theta is a brainwave frequency in which the subconscious mind is actually programmed. Simple. How do we get into theta? Think of theta as a state that you are in when you are meditating. Or maybe if you don't meditate, it's a state that you're in when you're like working on your favorite hobby, like your favorite piece of art. You're painting, you're engaged. You know physically, like, yes, I have this physical body, but it's more like soul to soul. It's soul to God. You're really tapped into your God consciousness. Theta is also the state you're in right before you're really about to doze off into a deep REM sleep and right when you wake up. That is why the power of affirmations are so important to say out loud and to articulate right before you go to sleep and right when you wake up. If you look on YouTube, you'll see that there are so many subconscious reprogramming affirmations for sleep and for the morning because of this reason, because the brain is in such a neuroplastic state, which is really that theta state in which you can rewire yourself, which you can really create that new identity. So how do we get into this state on a daily basis? How do I get into the state when I'm not going to sleep or not just waking up in the morning? The thing is here, it's very simple. It's training the breath, training the nervous system, and training it so you can understand that you are safe, that you are protected. Easy. So how do you do this? The simplest way that I have learned is by elongating the breath. So if you're in your meditation, what I like to do is set my alarm clock or set my timer. I normally set my timer for like 15, 20 minutes. I do participate in a meditative practice an hour a day. I'm not expecting that of you right now. And the benefit of setting the timer is just so you're not worried about always checking the time. You can really tap into your consciousness by just allowing it to be. So when you're in this meditative state, you've set your timer for 15 minutes. All I want you to focus on is breathing in for 6 seconds and exhaling for 8 seconds. So actually it's breathing in for 6 seconds. I want you just to hold the breath at the top for 2 to 4 seconds and breathe out for 8 seconds. The most important part here is really elongating that exhale. Think about when a tiger is being chased, right? By a lion. That tiger that's being chased by the lion is not breathing like that tiger's heart rate is 200 miles a minute, 200 beats a minute. That tiger's heart rate is elevated. That tiger's blood pressure is elevated. All of that blood and that energy is being shot to its limbs so it can run, so it can save itself, so it can survive. And when you elongate the breath, you're teaching the nervous system that you are safe, because there's no way that you can physiologically be in danger while also maintaining long, expansive breaths. That's just not the way we are programmed. When we are in danger, when we are in fight or flight, our breath is shallow, our heart is racing, our blood pressure is elevated, our pupils are dilated, all of the blood is being shunted to our limbs so we can run, so we can fight, and so we can flight. So do the opposite. And the opposite is just, you can start with the breath, elongating that breath, focusing on that breath, teaching the body that you are safe. Soon enough, you're going to tap into this state of theta in which you can really begin to understand and observe, keyword, observe your subconscious programming. So once you observe this subconscious programming, you're in this state of visualization, you've already brought awareness to the situation, you have understood the root cause of your conditioning, you have created your desired identity, and now you're in a state of neuroplasticity and visualization. I want you to literally visualize your identity, your desired identity in the works. She is taking action. So what is she thinking? What is she feeling? Let's say your desired identity is a woman who is in the best shape of her life and she's going to the gym 3-4 times a week. She's eating a certain way. She's dressing a certain way. She is walking a certain way. She talks a certain way. She does her hair a certain way. She does her makeup a certain way. Tell me everything that identity is doing. Visualize it. What is she smelling? What is she tasting? What food is she eating? How do her muscles feel when she's actually working out? How does she feel in her body? What kind of thoughts is she producing about herself and the world around her? What is her belief system like? What are the actions she's taking? Yeah? What is she actually feeling? When she lays in bed at night and it's just her and her internal world, what does that feel like for her? And most importantly, what is your why? Understanding your why in your desired identity is going to help you stay on track. It is going to always give you that push, that encouragement that comes from within that no one else can take away from you. So when it is actually time to show up in the physical world, you always have that why to go back to, right? And so the next thing when you come out of your visualization and your meditation, after you've elongated the breath, after you've done the subconscious rewiring, is to actually go out and take action. And so this strengthens that mind-body connection. So now in the mind, we're literally rewiring. We are, what's that word? Not sculpting, not snipping, pruning. We're literally pruning away our old identity neurologically, and we're creating new neuronal pathways internally that match with that identity in which we have visualized. But you have to go out into the physical world and take that action. Be that woman, dress like her, talk like her, act like her, think like her, feel like her, you know? And this is going to strengthen that mind-body connection. You're going to build a level of trust within yourself that nobody can take away. And so this is how you can actually begin to coach yourself through any self-limiting or self-sabotaging behavior, any self-limiting beliefs, any self-limiting actions or thoughts or feelings. And you are your greatest asset. You are your greatest coach. Once you begin to tap into soul and you really begin to go within and go inward through meditation, through journaling, through that inner work, you become so resilient within yourself. And the beautiful aspect of all of this is that when you can do this for yourself, you do it for others. Your light begins to shine so bright. You radiate when you walk into rooms because you're doing the inner work, because you are your own best coach, your own best mentor. Aside from that, it is very important to have coaching and mentorship. I am a coach and I have my own mentor who I absolutely love and adore. You know, I have that tribe. I have a great support network and who I go to when I need that extra boost of support. However, I also have a sense of independence in which I can coach myself through any self-limiting behaviors and belief systems when I feel like I shouldn't be reaching out to that mentor or that mentor isn't available, right? So it's really about becoming your own best friend. It's really about becoming resilient and reliant on yourself while also being humble enough to ask for help. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, ladies, and I love this work so much. I'm so grateful. If you haven't already, you can click on the link below. I have created an ebook called the Success Shift, in which I kind of coach you through this and I help you understand some of your own conditioning and how to step into a place of success in which you deem as success. Again, if you're looking for that mentorship and that coaching and for someone to help you really dig deep into your subconscious programming, I do offer one-on-one coaching and coaching programs in which you can visit at my site below in the description box, www.theconsciousfreedommovement.com. I'm so excited, ladies, and we are approaching the end of the year. And so really just hone in on the identity that you have become throughout the year. It's so easy to kind of like look at other people and blame ourselves for not reaching specific goals, but I really want you to take the end of this time, or this specific time, to really come home and understand, like, who have I grown into on this journey, and really applaud yourself for that. So as always, ladies, I love you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all of you that subscribe, that comment, that like, that share. I love all of it. I love interacting with you, and I cannot wait to see you on the next video. From my beautiful, loving heart to yours, namaste, and remember, the freedom that you seek starts from within. I love you so much. Mwah. Bye, ladies.